Good evening. I wanted to take a couple minutes this evening and talk with you about the discussion board element of the class. As you know, on an online class, the crux of the class is the online portion. But I've gotten a couple questions about how many questions do I have to answer, how many replies do I have to have. Okay. And I think in the syllabus I talk about, and this is absolutely true, the first thing I want to emphasize to you is that the online portion, you should be participating throughout the module, not just working on Sundays or Thursdays or on Monday evenings, but throughout. There should be evidence of your work throughout, and I will be sending you a snapshot of how much time and when you spend time online so you can see your own participation. Okay? That's the first thing. Work throughout and participate and be active throughout the duration of the module. In the syllabus too, I'll talk about this idea of responding to at least 3. Now, let me say that's a minimum. So let me give you a better sense. What gives you a better sense of what I'm expecting is in the discussion board, I give you kind of an outline of round 1, round 2, and round 3, and give you some deadlines by the first Sunday, by the second Thursday, and by the last day of the module. So let's kind of walk through those phases, and maybe that'll give you a better sense of what I mean. The first thing I want to say, there are 5 questions in every single module. You are to respond in a deep, expanded, extensive, significant way to every question. So if you're only putting up 4, 5, 6 sentences for an in-depth answer to one of the questions, I want you to think about ways you can expand that, because you would need to do that. So I want evidence that you understand the question and that you hit on key points and talk about it in a very professional and meaningful way. You can, and what would enhance it even more is if you're using outside sources to reinforce your opinion or your idea that you're making. That's phase 1. Phase 2, when people respond to your question answer, to the answer you provide for a question, I want you to respond to them. Okay? Ideally, I'd want you to respond to every single one of them. Okay? But I would say it to you like this: reply to multiple people. Okay? And again, this idea of 3 being minimal. I don't need you, but in those responses, I don't want your response to be a one-word sentence. Okay? And I'll talk about responses in a minute. But phase 2, you're responding to the people who responded to your answer. Okay? Phase 3. As the conversations go back and forth, what I want you to do is you jump into other conversations and add your opinion. I don't want you to talk to or have conversations with just one person. You're going back and forth. There's, I think, 18 of you in the class. You're hitting other people, and so that you get other perspectives. Don't just focus on if someone teaches your same level or has your similar background. Focus on different people. And you may do it in different modules. In Module 1, okay, I focus on these 5 or 6 people, and in Module 2, I move on to others. Okay? Always trying to gain a better and widen your perspective about things. Okay? So, again, phase 1, answer all the questions. Phase 2, respond to people who responded to your answers. Phase 3, respond to people who have responded to people beyond just your questions, and so you're jumping into other conversations and other people's responses. Okay, you're doing that with multiple people. Now, let me talk about the responses that you do, the replies that you give to people. Okay. Sure, there will be times when you look at, I totally agree with what you're saying. Okay. I don't want this just to be, I don't want the reply just to be, I agree with your point. I totally understand your angle. Okay. I want you to try to think to grasp kind of a PPW mindset of, have you considered this point? Ask questions. Ask people to take different perspectives and look at it in a different way. Now, that's not to say you can't have those, certainly you can agree with someone. But my point is, especially as you move through the modules, being able to have a perspective of a PPW as you're answering some of these questions, or more importantly, as you're responding to what other people are saying in the discussion threads. Again, we're doing that in a respectful way, in a professional way. I'd want to say to you too, certainly when you're responding or bringing in other sources, you're citing them as in APA formatting, but I don't want the APA formatting to stress you out to the point that you're not responding. Okay. My point is, I want you engaged in conversation. All right. I'm not going to nitpick you about, double-spaced references and a comma here and a comma there. I want you talking to each other, sharing ideas, and broadening each other's perspective and insight on things. That's what I care about the most. Okay. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, answering all the questions, responding to people who respond to you, and responding to other people who respond to other people, and jumping in on other conversations. That's what I'd want you to do. And so certainly, if you have questions, you can email me, contact me, and I'll be glad to respond and clarify anything. So, until next time, we will see you in the threads. Thanks.